Cool. Double the recording. So, first of many. So we'll do a little bit of whatever put together. I'm just doing it because I can. You aren't where you want to be because you aren't the person who would be there. When it comes to setting big goals, people tend to focus on one of the two requirements for success: changing your actions to make progress towards the goal, least important, second order; changing who you are so that your behavior naturally follows, most important, first order. Most people set a surface level goal, hype themselves up to remain disciplined for the first few weeks, then go back to their old ways without much struggle because they were trying to build a great life on a rotting foundation. If this doesn't make sense, let's run through an example. Think of somebody successful. It can be a bodybuilder with a great physique, a founder, CEO worth millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars, or a charismatic dude who can chat up to a group without a shred of anxiety entering his mind. Do you think the bodybuilder has to grind to eat healthy? Does the CEO have to discipline themselves to show up and lead the team? To you, it may seem like that on the surface level, but the truth is that they can't see themselves living any other way. That would be the same case for like a with the artist as well. The bodybuilder has to grind to eat unhealthily. The CEO has to force themselves to lie in bed past their alarm clock, and they hate every second of it. There's nuance there. Just entertain me for a second. To some people, my own lifestyle seems a bit extreme and disciplined. To me, it's natural. And I don't say that to contrast it with any other kind of lifestyle. I simply enjoy living this way. When my mom tells me I should take a break, go out, have some fun, I hold my tongue from telling her, if I weren't having fun, why would I be doing what I'm doing? This next sentence may sound simple, but it is baffling how many people don't get it. If you want a specific outcome in life, you must have the lifestyle that creates that outcome long before you reach it. Fake it till you make it. Um, feel like you already have it. Live it like sort of like living in that lifestyle of like mentality, and yeah, that's a key takeaway. Mm-hmm. If you want something, if you want a specific outcome in life, you must have the lifestyle that creates that outcome long before you reach it. If someone says they want to lose 30 pounds, I often don't believe them not because I don't think they're capable, but there are too many times when the same person says, I can't wait until I'm done losing weight so that I can start enjoying my life. I hate to break it to you, but if you don't adopt the lifestyle that led you to losing the weight for life, and find a reason with a higher gravitational pull than the one tying you to your previous ways, then back, you will go straight back to where you started, and you can unhappily say that you wasted the resources you will never get back. Time. When you truly change yourself, all your habits that don't move the needle towards your goal become disgusting because you have a deep and profound awareness of what kind of life those actions compound into. You're okay with your current standards because you are not fully aware of what they are or what they lead to. We will discuss how to uncover this, but we need to build up to that. You say you want change, you say you want to become financially free and get healthy, but your actions show otherwise for a reason. And it goes a lot deeper than you think. 2, you aren't where you want to be because you don't want to be there. Trust only movement. Life happens at levels of events, not of words. Trust movement. Alfred Adler. If you want to change who you are, you must understand how the mind works so that you can start to reprogram it. The first step to understanding that the mind is to understand that all behavior is goal oriented. It's teleological. When you think about it, this is kind of obvious, but when we dig into it, most people don't want to hear it. You take a step forward because you want to reach a certain location. You scratch your nose because you want to make the itch go away. Those ones are clear, but most of the times your goals are unconscious. You may not realize when you sit on the couch in the middle of the day when you're trying to burn time because before your next responsibility, as simple as one simple example. On an even more unconscious and complex level, you pursue goals that can harm you, but you justify your actions in a way that is socially acceptable and doesn't make you feel like a loser. As an example, if you stop procrastinating your work, you may justify it with the fact that like you lack discipline. But in reality, you're attempting to achieve a goal like you always are. In this case, the goal could be to protect yourself from the judgment that comes from finishing and sharing your work. If you say you want to quit your dead end job, but stay in it without any real reason, you may start to think that you don't have enough courage, or that you never really ask, or you were never really a risk taker. But the truth is that you're pursuing the goal of safety, predictability, and an excuse to not look like a failure to everyone else in your life who sees working a dead end job as a sign of success. The lesson here is that real change requires changing your goals. I don't mean setting some surface level goal because the act of doing that serves an unconscious goal that is actually harming you. That's been ran through enough in productivity space. I mean, like changing your point of view because that's what a goal is. A goal is a projection into the future that acts as a lens of perception, which allows you to notice information, ideas, and resources that aid you in achieving that goal. God damn. This is very profound, sir. Now let's dig a bit deeper because if you don't understand this, it is only going to become more difficult for you. or it only becomes more difficult to get out. I send out letters like these once or twice every week. If you don't want to miss them, join here. I love it. Plug, baby. Future/proof. Stay relevant. That's pretty cool. I love Substack. Substack. Cool. Third, you aren't where you want to be because you're afraid to be there. The important thing for you to remember is that it does not matter in the least how you got the idea or where it came from. You may never have met a professional hypnotist. You may never have formally been hypnotized, but if you accepted an idea from yourself, your teachers, your parents, your friends, advertisement, or any other source, and further, if you are firmly convinced that the idea is true, it has the same power over you as the hypnotist's word have over the hypnotized subject. Jesus in Christ. Maxwell Maltz. I get it. It's kind of like if you get convinced in the fact that like this is who you are, because I do know millionaires, billionaires that use hypnosis to kind of train their brain into adopting the lens of that they are a ambitious overachiever, go-getter, mindset, and wash out whatever blockages that they have in their body or mind, mine particularly, mainly. Um, Here's how you become who you are today, and how you will become who you will be tomorrow. This is the anatomy of identity. One, you want to achieve a goal. Two, you perceive reality through the lens of that goal. Three, you only notice important information and ideas that allows you to achieve that goal. Learning. You act towards that goal and receive feedback that you are progressing towards it. You repeat that behavior until it becomes automatic and unconscious conditioning. That behavior becomes a part of you who you becomes a part of who you think you are. I am the type of person who, drinks coffee. I am the type of person who goes to yoga. I'm a person who writes the sweetest words. You identify yourself, or you defend your identity to maintain psychological consistency. Your identity shapes new goals, restarting the cycle, and if that identity is disadvantaged towards a good life, this gets bad very quick. Need to read that again. Your identity shapes new goals, restarting the cycle. And if that identity is a disadvantage towards a good life, this gets bad very quickly. I can only just always think about eating bad and not taking care of yourself and just things like that. The unfortunate reality is that you must break the cycle between steps 6 and 7. But this process starts when you are a child. You have the goal of survival. You are independent, or you are dependent on your parents to teach you how to survive. You had to conform. And since the way most people teach is through reward and punishment, unless you adopt their beliefs and values, you will be punished. You don't actually think for yourself until you see this through. But your parents have also gone through this process throughout their entire lives. That's where it gets dangerous. Your parents, unless they broke the pattern themselves, were conditioned by culturally accepted ideas of success from the industrial age. They also carry the best and the worst conditioning from their parents and their parents, or their parents' parents. To take it a layer deeper, once you fulfill your physical survival needs, which is quite easy to do in today's world, you're practically born into safety. You start to survive on the conceptual or ideological level. You may not try to protect and reproduce your body, but you absolutely protect and reproduce your mind. It's not difficult to see the war of ideas on the internet, and the participants are individual and group identities. When your body feels threatened, you go into fight or flight. When your identity feels threatened, the same thing happens. Yeah, my body is very comfortable right now. My identity is what felt threatened for the past 2 years because I didn't really have a path that I was following. I couldn't identify myself as a trader, couldn't identify myself as an artist, or just even a creative. I was in fight or flight mode. I fought as much as I fled or fleed or fleet. If you are heavily identified with a political ideology by the process we talked about just before, you will feel threatened when someone challenges your belief. You literally feel the stress. You emotionally like you were just slapped in the face. Since most people don't analyze their emotions for truth, you tend to get stuck in echo chambers and double down on claims that you harm yourself and others. If you were raised in a religious household, do not think for yourself. You will, and did not think for yourself, you will fight and attack others who threaten your psychological safety within that little bubble. The same thing happens when you unconsciously see yourself as a lawyer, gamer, or somebody else who would not take the actions to achieve a better life. 4. The life you want lies within a specific level of mind. The mind evolves through predictable stages over time. When you're born, you're like a little survival sponge that observes whatever beliefs you can, which are heavily dictated by your culture, so that you can feel safe and secure. And if you don't be careful, your mind may crystallize and make it difficult to live a meaningful life. This has been documented enough in models like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, Gruder's stages of ego development, spiral dynamics, and integral theory, each building off of one another, but it's also not difficult to observe in society. I've talked about these many times and synthesized them into my own Human 3.0 model with various AI prompts to uncover your level of development and a path forward. Open in a new tab after if you'd like to read afterwards. But here's the 80/20 of the 9 stages of ego development as a refresher because repetition helps you reveal things you didn't notice before. And there are new people reading these letters. That is actually true. AQAL. All quadrant level stages. Da, 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 da. Types. Valid dictation. Spiral dynamic. First tier, second tier, third tier. Impulsive. No separation between impulse and action, black or white thinking. Like i.e., a toddler hits when angry because the feeling and the behavior are the same thing. Self-protective. The world is dangerous, you learn to look out for yourself, i.e., a kid learns to hide report cards, lie about chores, and figure out what adults want to hear. Conformist. You are your group, and its rules feel like reality itself. Someone who genuinely cannot fathom why anyone would vote differently than their family or group. Self aware. You notice you have an inner life that doesn't match the exterior. Sitting in church, realizing you're not sure you believe what everyone around you seems to believe, and not knowing what to do with that feeling yet. How do you pronounce it? Conscientitious. Conscientitious. You build your own system of principles and hold yourself accountable to learn. Leaving your family's religion after careful study of adopting a personal philosophy you can defend or build a career plan around with clear milestones because you believe the right efforts will yield the right results. Individualist. You see that your principles were shaped by the context and start holding them more loosely. Realizing your political views have more to do with where you grew up than objective truth, or noticing that your ambitious career goals were really about earning your father's approval. A strategist. You work with systems while aware of your own involvement in them, leading in organizations while actively questioning your own blind spots or engaging in politics, knowing your perspective is partial and shaped by bias you can't fully see. Construct aware. You see all frameworks, including your identity, as useful fictions, holding your spiritual beliefs with metaphorical, not literally, knowing the map is not the territory, or watching yourself play the role of a founder or thought leader with a kind, gentle amusement. And unitive. Separation between self and life dissolves. For example, work, rest, and play feel like the same. There's no one left who needs to become something. Just presence responding to what arises. Ooh, I love that last one. For most people reading this, I would assume you would hover between 4 and 8, which is a huge gap. The closer you to 8 are reading this, those closer to 8 are reading this are doing so to either learn something or pass time in non-destructive way. Those closer to 4 are really looking for a change. You feel you are meant for more, but you can't make sense of everything yet because there's obviously a lot at play. The good thing is, it doesn't really matter what stage you are in because moving through any of them follows a pattern. 5. Intelligence is the ability to get what you want out of life. Just fucking said that this morning. Knowledge is everything. Knowledge is everything. We're afraid because of the unknown. What is the unknown? Not knowing enough about something. Once you know it, boom, fear gone, because fear was leading you to those questions about, like, wow, how do I solve this? How do I get out of this situation? What do I need to do? Blah, blah, blah. It's literally at your fingertips. Educate yourself. Find out the ways. Once you know the ways, these are clear, blah, blah, blah. If you don't find those something that works for yourself, find other ways. Find what, there has to be a way. Like, has to be. My boy Naval, the only real test of intelligence is if you get what you want out of life. Wow. There is a formula for success. One ingredient is agency. One ingredient is opportunity, which many people like to mistake as privilege because the other ingredients, he's missing a word. They lack the other ingredients. Maybe? The last ingredient is intelligence. If you have high agency, but low opportunity, it doesn't matter how likely you are to act towards a goal because it isn't a goal that will bear much fruit. If you have opportunity and agency, but low intelligence, then you will never be fully able to benefit from that opportunity. First, we've talked about agency before here. In terms of opportunity, I can't tell you to change your physical location because if you don't see the abundance of digital opportunity right in front of you, I don't know what to tell you. With that said, I want to focus on what intelligence is in the context of these two other ingredients and this letter. For that, we look to cybernetics. Cybernetics comes from the Greek word kybernetikos, which means to steer or good at steering. It is also known as the art of getting what you want. So if Naval's definition of intelligence is getting what you want out of life, understanding cybernetics helps you do that much faster. Cybernetics illustrates that properties of intelligent system. To have a goal, act towards that goal, sense where you are, compare it to that goal, and act again based on that feedback. Boat, steer right, steer left, steer right, steer left, lighthouse. You can judge intelligence based on the system's ability to iterate and persist with trial and error. Second brain. A ship blown off course that corrects towards its destination, a thermostat sensing a change in heat turning on, the pancreas exerting insulin after blood. The pancreas excreting insulin after blood glucose spikes. What does this have to do with getting what you want out of life? Everything. Acting, sensing, comparing, and understanding the system from a meta perspective is fundamental to high intelligence. With the definition we are using, high intelligence is the ability to iterate, persist, and understand the big picture. The mark of low intelligence is the inability to learn from your mistakes. Low intelligence, people get stuck on problems rather than solving them. They hit a roadblock and quit. Like a writer who fails to build a readership and quits because they lack the ability to try new things, experiment and figure out a process that works for them. To think that there isn't an effective process you can create is verifiably false, no matter your limiting beliefs, hence being low intelligence. High intelligence is realizing any problem can be solved on a large enough timescale. The reality is that you can achieve any goal you set your mind to. Intelligence is realizing that there is a series of choices you can make which lead to achieving the goal you want. You understand that these ideas are hierarchical, hierarchical, and that you can't go from Papyrus to Google Docs in one fell swoop. Even if that goal is impossible right now, you simply don't have the resources, which may be invented over the new few years or the next few years to achieve that thing. When I talk about goals, and as I will continue repeating, I'm not speaking from the typical lens of self help, although that's a helpful lens to adopt at times. I'm speaking from the lens of teleology. Now I would need to figure out how to fucking say it because I said it before. Crap.
Teleology.
Teleology. Teleology. Teleology, or the Greek cosmos, ooh, that everything serves a purpose, that everything is a part of a greater whole. Goals determine how you see the world. Goals determine what you consider success or failure. You can try to enjoy the journey, but if you pursue the wrong goal, you will not enjoy it. Your mind is the operating system for reality. That system is composed of goals. For most people, those goals are assigned to them, programmed like lines of code in your psyche. Go to school, get a job, get offended, play victim, retire at 65. A known path that doesn't work. To become more intelligent, you must reject the known path. Dive into the unknown. Set new, higher goals to expand your mind. Embrace the chaos and allow for growth. Study the generalized principles of nature. Become a deep generalist. I never believed in specialization or like mastery in one craft. Like for me, that was mastering my life and myself, my thoughts, my um, deep desire of knowledge and just knowledge of oneself. I don't mean knowledge of the science or the universe or anything like that. That's a specific type of knowledge. I think the knowledge of oneself is the study that I like doing. To understand, this may not be traditional definition of intelligence, but that sequence of steps leads to an extraordinary level of connections in your brain, leading to what we would observe as an intelligent person. Pair that with agency, and now you've got a winner. That leads us into the next section perfectly. Number 6. How to launch into a completely new life in one day. The best periods of my life always came after a period of getting absolutely fed up with the lack of progress I was making. A fucking men, my G. A fucking men. Tell me about it. Fucking fed up. Like, how do you dig into your mind? How do you become aware of your conditioning? How do you reach profound insights and truths that change the trajectory of your life? Through the simple but often painful act of questioning. Something that so few people do, and you can tell by how they speak or give their thoughts on a specific topic. Questioning is thinking, and very few people do it. I want to give you a comprehensive protocol that you could use every day or every year to reset your life and launch into a season of intense progress. This protocol helps you ask the right question. These questions will cover the macro to the micro, where you want to be, what you need to do to get there, what you can do immediately to start moving the needle towards the reality. This will require one full day to complete, so I recommend you follow along with the exact protocol. You will need a pen, paper, and an open mind. When I observe patterns in people who successfully flip their identity, it happens fast after a buildup of tension. Specifically, I've noticed three phases that people tend to go through. Dissonance, they feel like they don't belong in the current life and become sufficiently fed up with the lack of progress. Uncertainty, they don't know what comes next, so they either experiment or get lost or feel worse. Discovery, they discover what they want to pursue and make 6 years of progress in 6 months. Mother of all. Yes. So your goal with this protocol is to help you reach the point of dissonance, navigate through uncertainty, and discover what it truly is that you want to achieve. So much so that the clarity is overwhelming and distractions no longer hold their weight. This protocol is structured so that it can be completed in one day. In the morning, you do a psychological excavation, excavation to uncover your own hidden motives. During the day, you prompt yourself into interrupts to keep you out of autopilot and contemplate your life. At night, you synthesize the insights into a direction you will start to move in tomorrow. Ooh, that's a beautiful protocol. I cannot guarantee that this will work for everyone because I cannot guarantee that everyone reading this is in the right chapter of their own story. That would make these points impactful. You can't place the climax at the end of at the start of the book and expect it to be interesting. Part 1, morning. Psychological excavation, vision and anti-vision. First, we must create a new frame or lens of perception of your mind to operate from. Excuse me. This is like creating a new shell, leaving your old one, and slowly growing it into over time. It won't feel like it fits at first. That's a good thing. Set aside 15 to 30 minutes, the length of a YouTube video. You could do it. To think right now, this has been like 34 minutes. Fucking come on. We can do this. Set aside 15 to 30 minutes, the length of a YouTube video, to think about and answer these questions, and do not attempt to outsource this contemplation to AI. I want you to break past the limiter that is on your mind. If you can't answer these immediately, come back to them later. Like you want to do them now? Sure. What is the dull and persistent dissatisfaction you've learned to live with? Not the deep suffering, but what you've learned to tolerate. If you don't hate it, you will tolerate it. Hmm. Um, how do I put this? Interesting. The only thing I'm like thinking about beyond just common mistakes or repeated behavior of self sabotage, we don't want it to be a deep suffering. We want it to be something that I've learned to tolerate. All right, I come back to it. What do you complain about repeatedly but never actually change? Write down 3 complaints you voiced most often in the past year. The ability to create, because to be honest, that's not an ability, you just fucking create. But I kept complaining that like I didn't have the ability to create. Um complain. I That's the problem. I don't fucking complain, but I need to like think about it cuz I probably do. Okay. On to the next one. Keep coming back. For each complaint, what would someone who watched your behavior, not your words, conclude that you actually want? Someone would say, make the time for it. Boundaries, like set boundaries. That's what I want. That's what they would say that I want, is to set boundaries. Something that I complained about, I guess, like, yeah, this is now coming back to me. I guess reading the third question is now giving me the complaints that I've always talked about, is that, like, I don't have a system, or like I'm not able to keep up with my workouts or just taking care of my body. blame system. They would conclude by again saying the same thing, that like routine that I would enjoy or associate myself with. I complained about approval of people. And someone has concluded by just saying that, like, what you wanted was someone to just recognize, or better yet, you yourself wanted more out of it. Yeah. Number 4, what truth about your current life would be unbearable to admit to someone you deeply respect? The unbearable cost of stupid mistakes. Number 1, what is dull and persistent dissatisfaction you've learned to live with? Not the deep suffering that you've learned to tolerate. Yeah, stupid mistake. I wrote for the first, like, to do stupid mistakes out of a process. I guess it's just all tying into the idea that, like, I feel like it's foundational. It was structure. It was foundation, structure. Like knowing the ability to swim, but then like not knowing how to like move your hands in a certain way. I guess that's a structure or just the foundation to swim. Those questions are meant to make you aware of the pain in your current life. Now we need to turn those, into what I call an anti-vision, which is brutal awareness of the life you don't want to live. That way you can use that negative energy to aim your efforts into a positive direction. Act from a place of intrinsic motivation. 1. If absolutely nothing changes for the next 5 years, describe an average Tuesday. Ew. Sulking and staying in bed until 9:29 a.m. after sleeping at 2 a.m. or maybe 3. Or worse. What does your body feel like? Bloated. Fucking stomach sticking out. Fatigue. What's the first thing you think about? Pussy. uh, um, have to make a trade to earn. Who's around you? To be honest, nobody. Wouldn't bear to see them love me at my worst like that. But I love myself too much. What do you do between 9 a.m. to 6 p.m.? Survive. How do you feel at 10 p.m.? Blissful. Now I'll do it for 10 years. Oh my goodness. 10 years? I'm fucked. Or he's fucked. Hypothetical. Listen, not me, baby. You good. I love you. What have you missed? What opportunities closed? Missed these fine ass looks. Wasted talent. Who gave up on you? Myself. What do people say about you when you're not in the room? Huh. No good. Has been. Whatever. You're at the end of your life. You lived the safe version. You never broke the pattern. What was the cost? What did you never let yourself feel, try to become? Cost was my cost was my everything. My everything. What did you never let yourself feel, try to become? Winning. Just bliss and this fulfilling experience of living. Just living. It's so simple. Just living. Who in your life is already living in the future? Who in your life is already living the future? You've just described someone 5, 10, 20 years ahead on the same trajectory. What do you feel when you think about becoming them? I used to think my dad, but he's dead now. Sorry, I laugh. But he didn't let himself, like, it was like and there was always fine line of like just a little, like, it could have been like that 6 months progress that we just learned about. Could have been it for him too. I feel like want to be a better him. That he wished for himself to be. What identity would you have to give up to actually change? I'm the type. Um, um, the identity of safety and fear based, and to live vicariously honest. Honest. Are you honest? Cause I'm honest. What would it cost you socially to no longer be that person? What identity you have to give up to actually change? What would it cost you socially to no longer be that person? Oh, um, people's feelings would hurt. I would get envy, not hurt, because for those that do get envy, I wouldn't even like face them because they would just see me being the charismatic person that changes the fucking room with their no anxiety having fucking ass. Just being like, let's all just be friends. If you can't be friends, bitch, suck my dick. See you never. Socially, I think it's just like, you know, it would cost me the. How do I want to say this? It would cost me to not. It would cost me to deal with the not having a headache of bad people. If that makes sense. It would cost the not having headache of wastemans. That's the first one that popped in my head. And what is the most embarrassing reason you haven't changed? The one that makes you feel or sound weak, scared, lazy, rather than reasonable. It's the most embarrassing reason you haven't changed. The one that makes you weak, sound weak, scared, lazy, or rather than reasonable. What is the most embarrassing reason you haven't changed? What is the most embarrassing? To accept that my light was dimmed because I chose actions out of fear. I chose bad actions. Sorry. If your current behavior in a form of self-protection, if your current behavior is a form of self-protection, what exactly are you protecting and what is the protection costing you? Fucking everything? Not everything. Continuous lighting, continuous dimming of the light. Still seeking more approval. And to live a life of abundance. If you answered those truthfully, and if you are in the right chapter of your life, you will feel a deep sense of dis-ease, and possibly disgust on how you are currently living. But I have kind of like started also implementing these changes. But this is good. This is good. This is like, I mean, this is great. Now we need to orient that energy into a positive direction. We need to create a minimal viable vision, because your vision is like a product. It starts out unclear, but with time and experience, it grows stronger and more potent. Forget practicality for a minute. If you could snap your fingers and be living a different life in 3 years, not what's realistic, what you actually want. What does an average Tuesday look like? Same level of details at question 5. Fam. 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 I wake up. I wake up on a bed at the beach in an island of Indonesia or the Philippines. My coconut water gets served to me to start my day. With an ease of a smile that we both have it all. I might just cut this, but if I could snap my fingers, I would wake up on a bed at the beach in an island of Indonesia. My coconut water is served to me to start my day. My beautiful girlfriend next to me with the ease of a smile that we both have it all. I work 3 to 4 hours max trading, recording videos, and then going to go work out with a group of friends to fly to Bali for a DJ gig. Normal fucking Tuesday in 3 years. What would you have to believe about yourself for that life to feel natural rather than forced? Write down the identity statement. I am the type of person I am the type of person that is living with the light in them. Wherever wherever I go, I am welcomed with open arms. I am the type of person that is the true living embodiment of flow, trust, and ease. I'm the type that takes beautiful care of their body while having a balanced night lifestyle. Do it all, baby. Do it all in the life. There's no need to restrict. Just don't get carried away with the fact that like you become that person. You become the person that is living life truly like with enjoyment. I'm the type of person that is enjoying life. I am the type of person that is creating as the acid of life. I am the type of person that travels to spread this light of giving to the world. What is one thing you would do this week if you were already that person? Post this light. Post this. Answer all those questions first thing in the morning tomorrow. Bitch, I already did. What do you mean? Let's go. Part 2. Throughout the...
Hi.
Hello.
You can continue now.
I am reading a... Damn, if I was about to, like, to put this into, like, a page, I think it's, like, probably, like, 50, 30 pages of a document or article on Twitter. And I've been like reading it, recording myself, and just kind of like going through it and taking notes and then answering these questions for the past hour. So it's been fun.
Okay, let me not disrupt you. I can call you later.
Are you headed back to your hotel?
Yeah.
Okay, drive safe.
Thanks.
Love you.
Love you too.
Bye. Part 2. Throughout the day, Throughout the day, interrupting autopilot, breaking unconscious patterns. These journaling exercises are cute, but we want real change. Frankly, that is not going to happen if you don't break the current unconscious patterns that are keeping you the same. Throughout the day, I want you to contemplate on everything you journaled in part one. Beyond that, I don't want you to forget to contemplate. Please take this seriously. You aren't going to change by doing the same thing for the rest of your life. You need to consciously force a pattern break. Take the time right now to create reminders, calendar invites in your phone, include the questions in the reminder or event so that you can immediately start thinking about them. The more random and not conflicting with your schedule they are, the better. 11 a.m., what am I avoiding right now? What I'm doing? 1:30, someone filmed the last 2 hours. What would they conclude I want out of my life? 3:15, what am I doing towards my life? 5 o'clock, what's the most important thing I'm pretending isn't important? Interesting. Yeah, I could do that. Yeah. And then we'll synthesize it tomorrow. All right. First is at 11 a.m. tomorrow. Label. What am I avoiding right now by doing what I'm doing? 1:30. If someone filmed the last 2 hours, what would they conclude I want from my life? Am I moving towards the life that I hate or the life I want? What's the most important thing I'm pretending isn't important? What did I do today out of identity protection rather than genuine desire? Hint, it's most thing you do. When did I feel most alive today? When did I feel most dead? To add more fuel, add more fuel to the fire, schedule these questions during times where you are either commuting, walking, or lying around. That would be during the night. What would change? Would change if I stopped needing people to see me as the identity I wrote in question 10. Where in my life am I trading aliveness for safety? What's the smallest version of the person I want to become that I could be tomorrow? Okay, part 3. Evening, synthesizing insight, entering a season of progress. If you followed that process, I would be surprised if you didn't have at least one profound insight that could alter the course of your life. Now we need to make those knowns, integrate them into who we are, act on them to begin solidifying our journey to a new level of mind. After today, what feels most true? Lastly, we need to create goals. When your plan is to turn your life into a video game, I feel like we would have to get back to this. Beautiful. Well, that's it for now, I guess, and we will finish it tomorrow.